بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب يسر ولا تؤسر وتمم بالخير. Exercise number 1. أجب عن الأسئلة الآتية. Answer the following questions. أين أراد حامد أن يذهب? So where did Hamid want to go? Yes, does anyone remember?
عند المدير.
Okay. أراد حامد أن يذهب إلى النادي الرياضي. He wanted to go to the sports club. Yes, so أراد حامد, so we can see that إرادة is the past tense and حامد is the file. And then أن يذهب, as we know that it is in the place of مفعول به. إلى النادي الرياضي, he wanted to go to the sports club. بماذا أتى الحسن من غرفة المراقب? What will be the translation of this sentence? Do you think you are able to translate it? It's basically
for what?
Okay. It's basically ata bi, and normally we know that ata means to come, but when we use the preposition of bi, that means to bring. And now it was required that the preposition should come in the beginning of the sentence, because after that there is no noun where we can connect it. So بماذا أتى الحسن من غرفة المراقب? What did Hassan bring from the room of the controller? So بماذا أتى, it was basically أتى بي. So it will be ماذا أتى بالحسن. But as I said, it depends where and how to place the preposition. And this is the appropriate place where we can put it. So it will be بماذا أتى الحسن من غرفة المراقب. What did Hassan bring from the office of the controller? And the answer is the chalks, if you remember. Yes.
A tin of chalks.
Exactly, excellent. So أتى الحسن, now you can see here that it comes with the tabashiri. So we can see there that ba comes with the noun over here. So ata means he came, but when we say ata bi, that means he brought. So ata al-Hasanu, Hassan brought. Ata al-Hasanu bit-tabashiri, Hassan brought chalks min ghurfat al-muraqibi, from the office of the controller or the office of the supervisor. Next one is an easy question. Masmu at-talibi al-jadidi. What is the name of the new student? Why do I say at-talibi al-jadidi? Because the word ismun is used as mudaf. It is used as mudaf. Ibnun wa ismun, normally they are used as mudaf. Why? Because if we translate it, we will say, what is the name of the new student? So whenever we have the meaning of, that means the noun that comes before of will be mudaf, and the noun that comes after that will be mudaf ilayh. Ma, as we know, it's harf istifham, which is used to ask a question. So we will say that ma is mubtada and ism al-talibi al-jadidi will be khabar. Masm al-talibi al-jadidi. What is the name of the new student? Ismuhu Munirun. So the answer is already there. Ismuhu Munirun. His name is Munir. About Munir, can you figure out the pattern? Is it Ismul Fa'il? Is it Ismul Maf'ul? Or any other noun that you can think about?
Ismul Fa'il.
Ismul Fa'il, excellent. Okay, how do you figure out that it's Ismul Fa'il?
The first letter is Dhamma and the...
Excellent. And then we have kasra. So kasra before the second last letter or before the last letter. When we have kasra, then normally the construction is ismul fa'il. Excellent. And inshallah, when we start from lesson number 16, when we start the derived forms of the verb, then we will get a very clear idea about how to make ismul fa'il and ismul maf'ul from the verbs that are mazid fihi. Min aina huwa? Where is he from?
هو من بريطاني. هو
Excellent.
بريطاني.
هو من بريطانيا.
بريطانيا.
Yes, هو من بريطانيا. He is from England. All right, so now we have the information about al-mubtada wal-khabaru. Al-mubtada, it basically means ibtada'a yabtadi'u ibtada'an. That means to start something, to start something. So that's why we call it mubtada'un or al-mubtada'u. That means that the noun that we start a sentence with, okay? And wal-khabaru, as we know that khabaru means news. So every noun, whenever we talk about a noun, it has to have a news so that we know that like what is happening about the noun. For example, we say Allahu. Okay, so when we say Allahu, then we are waiting for the news. Like, what news do you want to give? So you can say Allahu Ghafurun, Allahu Akbaru. So similarly, if you have any other noun, for example, you say Muhammadun. When you say Muhammadun, now, yes, we know that Muhammad is a name, but after that, we need to know the news, the khabar. What is the khabar? So we will say Muhammadun or Rasulullahi. So after that, the sentence will be complete. So that's why we call that al-mubtada'u wal-khabaru. And now we have the same information as we discussed in the previous lesson in Arabic. Now al-mubtada'u huwa al-ismu alladhi natahaddathu anhu. So al-mubtada'u is a noun that we talk about. Huwa, it is al-ismu, a noun. Alladhi, the one, natahaddathu, we talk about. Anhu, it. So basically, mubtada is a noun that we talk about. Wal khabaru, and the predicate. So as we know, mubtada is subject and khabar is predicate. Wal khabaru huwa al hadithu. So khabar is basically a talk, or it's a conversation. Alladhi, which tatimmu, completes, which completes bihi, with it, al fa'idatu, the information. So basically, it's a news which gives us the information about the mubtada. So al-khabaru huwa al-hadithu alladhi tatimmu bihi al-fa'idatu. So basically, khabar is a news, or khabar is a piece of information which is about the mubtada, which tells us or which gives us information about the mubtada. Nahwu, for example, al-qamaru jamilun. So which one will be mubtada and which one will be khabar? It's very simple.
Al-qamaru is mubtada
and jamilun is khabar. And we know that normally mubtada is a proper noun and khabar is a common noun. ففي هذه الجملة, so in this sentence, نريد, we want, أن نتحدث, to talk, عن القمر, about the moon. فلفظ, so the word القمر, القمر, مبتدا, is a subject. ونريد, and we want, أن نقول, to say, إنه جميل, that indeed it is beautiful. فلفظ جميل, so the word jamil, khabarun, is khabar. So the same thing that we discussed in English, now we know in Arabic that the news that we talk about, or the noun that we talk about, is called mubtada, and the news that we give about it is called khabar. So this text is clear. Any word that you would like to ask, or anything that is grammatically that needs to be analyzed? I believe like such sentences, mashallah, we have analyzed so many times. So I would ask only one question over here. An naqula. What is the status of an naqula over here?
Masdar muawwal ustad.
Ahsanti, that's number one. Number two, what is the status? Is it marfu or mansub or majroor?
Mansub ustad.
Mansub. Excellent. No, because of nuridu. Nuridu, we want. So we want is fail plus file. And an-naqula is basically in the place of maf'ul bihi. For example, wa nuridu qawlana. It will be qawlana. Yes, our saying or our talk. Innahu jamilun. Indeed, it is beautiful. Falafdhu, and the word jamilun. So the word jamilun, khabarun, is predicate. All right. Min ahkamil mubtada'i. Now we talk about the rulings of the subject, or like the ahkam is basically the plural of hukman. So it's ahkam. So here it will be translated as the rulings of subject. Anwa'ul mubtada'i, the types of or the kinds of subject. Al-mubtada'u imma ismun sarihun wa imma masdarun mu'awwalun. Subject is either an original noun or it is an interpreted noun. Nahwu, for example, Allahu Rabbuna. So Allahu will be mubtada and Rabbuna will be khabar. Allah is our Rabb. Al-qira'atu mufidatun. Reading is useful. Al-julusu huna mamnuun. It is not permissible to sit over here, or sitting over here is forbidden. Nahnu tullabun, we are students. So here, Ismul Jalala, Allahu, Al-Qira'atu, Al-Julusu, wa Nahnu, all of them are mubtada. Are they Ismun Sarihun aw Masdarun Mu'awwalun? Okay, the original noun, I would translate it. Ismun Sarihun means the original noun, and Masdarul Mu'awwalun means the interpreted noun. So are they original nouns or are they the interpreted masdar?
These are original nouns.
Excellent, Allah. All of them, yes, excellent. For example, Allahu, Al-Qira'atu, Al-Julusu, Nahnu, all of them are the original nouns. Whereas whenever we talk about Masdarun Mu'awwalun, please remember we have dedicated a complete lesson to this, that it is always a combination of a harf, which is an, and then the present tense, fi'l mudari. So the combination of an plus fi'l mudari is called Masdarun Mu'awwalun. Other than that, every noun will be considered as Ismun Sarihun. Ismun Sarihun, we will call that. They are the original noun. Wa an tasumu khairul lakum. To fast is the best for you. To fast, an tasumu. So we can see over here that wa is harf istinafiya, that is used to start a sentence. So an tasumu will be mubtada, or in place of mubtada, and khairun will be khabar, and lakum is jar majroor, as we know that. So we will translate it to fast. Why? Because an means to, and tasumu is to fast. So that's why we will say to fast is better for you, or is the best for you. If we replace it with siyamukum, siyamukum khairul lakum, then we will say fasting is better for you.
Fasting, ing.
Ahsant. Then we have wa an ta'fu, to forgive. Aqrabu lit-taqwa is the closest to piety. So wa an ta'fu, to forgive. Again, wa an ta'fu, what kind of a noun is this? Is this ismun sarihun or masdarun mu'awwal?
Masdar mu'awwal.
Masdar mu'awwal. Why? Because it's a combination of an plus the present tense. Excellent. To forgive is the closest to piety. Excellent. So the first alif is, all of them are asma' sarih, and the second one, all of them ba, all of them are masdar al-mu'awwal. Then we have ta'riful mubtada'i wa tankiruhu, definiteness and indefiniteness of the subject. Why do we translate it as noun, definiteness and indefiniteness? Because here ta'rif is the masdar, arrafa yu'arrifu ta'rifan, wa tankir is also masdar, nakkara yunakkiru tankiran. So whenever we have masdar, it will be translated as a noun. So you know that in English, noun can be translated as ending with ness, like sometimes with ing. So here it will be definiteness and indefiniteness of the subject. Al-aslu fil mubtada'i an yakuna ma'rifatan. So originally, al-aslu originally fil mubtada'i, the subject, an yakuna ma'rifatan is definite. So al-aslu originally, mubtada is a definite noun. Kama fil amthilati al-atiyati, as in the following examples. So as we know that mubtada is normally a definite noun, yani it's a proper noun. Al-mubtada'u matbu'un bil-ahmari. The subject is printed in red. So matbu'un, as you can see over here, this is taba'a yatba'u. So matbu'un will be on the pattern of maf'ulun. So we will say al-mubtada'u matbu'un, translated, the translation will be, the subject is printed bil-ahmari, in the red, in red color. Muhammadun sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Rasulullahi. So we can see here that the red color, as we can see here, this is the subject, and Rasulullah is the predicate. Similarly, ana, I, mudarrisun, am a teacher. I am a teacher, ana mudarrisun. So ana will be subject and mudarrisun will be predicate. Okay, so Muhammadun, is it a definite noun or indefinite noun? Common noun or proper noun?
Proper noun.
Proper noun. So we have seen here that originally, as we can see here, originally a mubtada is a proper noun. Originally. But there is a possibility that mubtada can be a common noun. But as of now, we will focus on mubtada being a proper noun. Hada masjidun, this is a masjid. So hada is mubtada and masjidun is khabar. And we know that hada is ismun ishara and all of them are proper nouns. Alladhi, the one, ya'budu, worships, ghayr Allahi mushrikun, other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a mushrik. So other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it might be a thing, it might be anything. Whenever someone associates partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is mushrik. So alladhi, what kind of noun is this?
Ismul Mawsul.
Ismul Mawsul, excellent. Relative noun. So we know that after that, normally there is a complete sentence, and it can be a verbal sentence and it can be a nominal sentence. So here we have the verbal sentence, Ya'budu. And basically huwa, we know that in Ya'budu we have huwa, which refers to alladhi. There has to be a damir which refers or which goes back to alladhi or which goes back to the Ismul Mawsul. So the one who, so we will say that alladhi is mubtada and Ya'budu ghayr Allahi mushrikun is in the place of khabar, or we will say this is khabar. Al-Qur'anu Kitabullahi. Quran is the book of Allah. What kind of noun is Al-Quran over here?
It's indefinite.
Definite.
Definite.
Muhalla bi al. I wanted to know that. Now you need to remember the terms as well, so that because we are learning Arabic, so we should know. Muhallan bi al, yani it is decorated with al. So Quranun, if it is Quranun Majidun, bal huwa Quranun Majid. If it is only Quran Majid or it is only Quran, then it will be a common noun. But when we add al with that, then it becomes a proper noun. Al-Quranu Kitabullahi. Quran is the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Miftahul Jannati as-salatu. Yes, the key of Jannah is prayer. So here we will say that Miftahul Jannati is mudaf ilayh. So it's a complete construction. Whereas according to the to this book or the grammarians over there, they say that we will only say that Miftah is mubtada and as-salatu is khabar. However, if we say Miftahul Jannati is mubtada and as-salatu is khabar, that is also okay. That is also acceptable. So the key of Jannah is prayer. Now here, are the subject and predicate equal in number and gender? Of course not. You remember yesterday I told you that there is a possibility that in some certain conditions, mubtada and gender may not be equal in gender. They may not be equal in gender. Normally we know that mubtada and khabar are equal in number and gender. But here we know that miftah is mudhakkar, but as-salatu is mu'annath. So this is also possible as well in Arabic language. And the reasons, inshallah, we will discuss in the coming lessons. However, we know as of now, we know that subject and predicate are equal in two things. What are those two things? Number and gender. وقد يكون المبتدأ نكرة بشروط منها. وقد يكون, if you remember, we discussed earlier that قد, when it comes with the present tense, it gives the meanings of sometimes. وقد يكون, and sometimes al-mubtada'u, the subject, nakiratan, is a common noun, is indefinite noun, bishurutin minha, with these conditions. So sometimes mubtada can be a common noun, but with some certain conditions, and the conditions are over here. أن يكون الخبر شبه جملة. The predicate is a shibhu jumla, yani is an incomplete sentence. So when the predicate is an incomplete sentence, or al-muradu bi shibhi jumlati, the meaning of shibhu jumla is al-dharfu wal-jaru wal-majruru. So the sentence that starts with dharf or jar majrur, that is called shibhu jumla. Yani it resembles, basically, it resembles a sentence, but it is not a complete sentence. Why it is not a complete sentence? Because it cannot communicate the meaning itself. We always need a subject, or we always need mubtada to complete the meaning. Okay. وأن يتقدم على المبتدأ, and they are preceded, or they are given preference, or they come before of the mubtada. Nahwu, for example. So they come before the mubtada. عندنا سيارة. So in this sentence, where is mubtada and where is khabar?
سيارة is مبتدا and عندنا is خبر.
Khabar, excellent. Why عندنا is khabar? Because it is dharf plus mudaf ilayh. And as we have seen that it's a shibhu jumla, and shibhu jumla cannot be mubtada, it will always be khabar. However, we have seen that after that, normally mubtada is the common noun. So nakira, as we can see here, that as we have discussed over here, that with some certain conditions, that mubtada can be nakira, and this is condition number 1. Number 2, it says here, huna, here, sayaratun mubtadaun, sayaratun is subject, wa dharfu, and dharf inda khabarun, and the dharf inda is khabar. So we said that indana is khabar, whereas according to this book, only inda is khabar and na is not the part of the khabar. Li akhun, I have a brother. Li is jar majroor, shibhu jumla, and we know that shibhu jumla or jar majroor cannot be mubtada. So this is khabar, and akhun is mubtada. Akhun, is it a common noun or proper noun?
Proper noun.
A common noun.
It's a common noun. It doesn't have any reason why it's a proper noun. Does it have al? It simply carries tanween. So a noun normally when it carries the tanween, generally it's a common noun, isn't it? Huna akhun mubtadaun. Here akhun is mubtada. Wal jaru wal majruru li khabarun, and jaru wal majrur li is khabar. So now we know that shibhu jumla, which is the combination of dharf and jar majrur, it cannot be mubtada. It will always be a khabar. And the mubtada is generally, it is a common noun, as we can see over here. Indana sayyaratun wa li akhun. Do you remember the example of the Quran? I'm asking once again that we have about jar majroor, and the subject is a common noun. Fi qulubihim maradun. Fi qulubihim, we can see that fi is harf jar and qulubihim is majroor, so jar majroor. Fi qulubihim maradun, there is a disease in their hearts. So if you remember one example from the Quran, inshallah, you will never forget. So fi qulubihim, we will say that this is khabar, maradun is subject, which is the mubtada. An yakuna al-mubtada'u isma istifhamin. So when mubtada is interrogative noun. Now here, why we have to say isma istifhamin? Because we know that kana yakunu, there is ismu kana and khabaru kana. Ismu kana is always marfu. So we can see here that ismu kana is marfu and khabaru kana has to be mansub. So we will say isma istifhamin. An yakuna al-mubtada'u isma istifhamin, when subject is an interrogative noun. If you remember the interrogative nouns, the nouns that are used to ask questions, we call them asma'ul istifham. What are those? Do you remember that? Man, ma, mata, mada. 4 of them, please remember like this. 4 of them, they start with mim. Man, ma, mata, mada. 2 of them start with kaf. Kaifa wa kam. 2 of them start with hamza. Aina and anna. And 2 of them start with li. Lima and limada. So they are totally 10. So 4 start with mim. 2 start with kaf, 2 start with hamza, and 2 start with lam. Lima and limada. Wa asma'ul istifhami nakiratun. And interrogative nouns or asma'ul istifham are common nouns. So this one will be mubtada and this one will be khabar. So all of them are common nouns. Nahwu, for example, ma bika. What is wrong with you? So ma will be subject and bika will be predicate. Why? Because bika is jar majroor, and we know that jar majroor cannot be subject, it will always be predicate. Even though ma is a common noun, but as we have discussed, that there are some possibilities when common noun can be mubtada, and this is the third possibility, where that asma istifham, we know that generally they come in the beginning of the sentence and they will be mubtada if the khabar is jar majroor or khabar is shibhu jumla. Huna, here, ismul istifham ma mubtadaun, interrogative noun ma is subject, wal jaru wal majruru and jar majroor, or we can say prepositional phrase bika khabarun is khabar. So ismul istifham yani ma is subject and bika is predicate. Man maridun, who is sick? So man will be mubtada and maridun will be khabar. Why? Because both of them are common nouns. Both of them are common nouns. And if you remember yesterday, we also discussed, or in the previous lesson, in the general observations, I mentioned that if two common nouns come together, and one of them is mubtada and the second of them is khabar, we will say that the first one is mubtada and the second one is khabar. Similarly, we can say because it is ism istifham, and we know that asma istifham, they can also be mubtada. Huna ism istifham man mubtadaun. So here the interrogative noun man is subject, wa maridun khabarun, and maridun is predicate. Kam taliban fil fasli. How many students are there in the classroom? Okay, can you tell me, please? Can you please tell me about mubtada and khabar over here?
Taliban is.
In the previous lesson, we discussed that kam is mubtada and fil fasli will be khabar. Because kam is harf istifham, which is used to, ismul istifham, which is used to ask a question. Taliban is a tamiz, which is basically to tell the number, okay? Tamiz cannot be mubtada or khabar, so that's why we will say that kam is the subject and jar majroor shibhu jumla fil fasli is khabar. Huna ismul istifham kam mubtadaun, as we can see here. Here the interrogative noun kam is mubtada, wa fil fasli khabarun, and fil fasli is khabar. Tartibul mubtada'i wal khabari. Order of subject and predicate. The order of subject and predicate. Al-aslu an yataqaddama al-mubtada'u ala al-khabari. Originally, we know that mubtada comes first and khabar comes after that, right? So this is the original construction. Al-aslu an yataqaddama al-mubtada'u, that originally the mubtada should come ala al-khabari before khabar. Nahwu, for example, anta mudarrisun, you are a teacher. So anta is mubtada and mudarrisun is khabar. So this is the standard construction. Wa yajuzu aksuhu, and its opposite is also permissible. Nahwu, for example, a mudarrisun anta, are you a teacher? Now we can see here that anta is mubtada and mudarrisun is khabar. So this one, now the construction has been changed. And what happened over here, that khabar has come first and the mubtada has come later. And this is also possible, yani it is permissible. Jaza yajuzu, yani it's possible to do that. And there is a possibility that we can change the order of mubtada and khabar. But the reason is why? The reason is because it starts with hamzatul istifham. Ilahun ma'allah. We have discussed this example in book number 2 as well, that when we have harf istifham then after that we can bring that the common noun can come first and the proper noun can come later. Yani we can bring mubtada first and we can delay the mubtada and we can bring khabar first. Wa yajibu, and it is obligatory, an yataqaddama al-mubtada, that the mubtada has to come first, idha kana, if isma istifhamin, if it is ismul istifham. So if mubtada is ismul istifham, then it is a must that it should come first. For example, nahwu, for example, ma bika. So now we have to say that ma is mubtada and bika is khabar. Now it is obligatory. It is wajib that we have to say that, because it's you know that harf istifham normally comes in the beginning of the sentence because it is required. We cannot make a sentence without that. So when we have harf istifham in the beginning of the sentence, and after that, please remember, after that, either we have a jar majroor, or after that, either we have a common noun. So when we say man maridun, who is sick? So we will say that man is mubtada and maridun is khabar. Why is that? Because man is harf istifham. It is ismu istifham. Ismu istifham again. وَيَجِبُ أَن يَتَقَدَّمَ الْخَبَرُ, and it is a must that the khabar should come first. إِذَا كَانَ إِسْمَ إِسْتِفْهَامٍ, if it is ismu istifham. So now this point we need to know. Over here, when we say ma ismuka, ismuka, now ismu has become a proper noun. How it has become a proper noun? Because of ka. Ka, we know that all attached pronouns are definite. So whenever we use a definite noun with an indefinite noun, so whenever we use for example, a noun with the proper noun or with the attached pronoun, then it also becomes a proper noun. What do we call this? Mudaf ila al-ma'rifa. Mudaf ila al-ma'rifa, we know that ismu is a common noun. But when we use it as mudaf for the proper noun, then it also becomes a proper noun. So now we will say that ismu is a proper noun because of ka. Now, which one will be mubtada and which one will be khabar? Okay, yes, please.
Ismuka is mubtada.
Excellent. Ismuka is mubtada and ma is khabar. Why? Because when we have a proper noun and a common noun, then generally proper noun will be mubtada and common noun will be khabar. Even though ma has come in the beginning of the sentence, why it has come in the beginning of the sentence? Because it is harf istifham, and we know that harf istifham has to come in the beginning of the sentence. Like in English, we say, what is your name? When will you come? So we have to start them in the beginning of the sentence. Similarly, in Arabic, we have to bring them in the beginning of the sentence. But it doesn't mean that if they are in the beginning of the sentence, they are mubtada, and they can be khabar as well. And why will they be khabar? If after that we have a proper noun. Similarly, kayfa haluka. So halu here will be mubtada and kayfa will be khabar. And we can also say that haluka is mubtada and kayfa is khabar. Why haluka is mubtada? Because it is a proper noun.
Ustad, one more time.
Yes, please.
The reason answer. You say the reason, Ustad.
Again, please.
Mudarrisun anta.
Yes.
Why are you saying anta mudarrisun?
It is also like, you're right. We can say that anta mudarrisun. That will be the standard construction, as we can see here. وَيَجُوزُ, and it is possible or it is permissible aksuhu, to bring its opposite. And we are only talking about the possibility. This is not a fixed rule. This is just a possibility. But we have the example of this in the Quran. أَإِلَهُمْ مَعَ اللَّهِ. So when there is harf istifham, you know that there are only two harf istifham, a wa hal. A wa hal, we call them harf istifham. They are particles, okay? So when a sentence starts with a, then there is a possibility that we can change the order. We can bring khabar first and we can delay the mubtada. So here we have replaced it by yakum. We have replaced it. Why? Because of a. If we don't have a over there, then we will simply say anta mudarrisun, you are a teacher. But if you want to say, are you a teacher? Then there are two possibilities. Number one, anta mudarrisun, and number two, mudarrisun anta. Whereas the second one is baligh. As we know that in Arabic, like something is afsah. Yani this is something which is preferable. So when you have a in the beginning of a sentence, then it's preferable that we change the order. We bring predicate first and we delay the mubtada. But both of them are permissible. Both of them are okay. I hope it's clear now.
Yes.
All right. Hadful mubtada'i, omission of subject. Sometimes the subject is omitted. يجوز حذف المبتدأ إذا علم. So we can drop the subject if it is known. علم, as we know that it's a passive verb. So يجوز حذف المبتدأ, that it is permissible to drop or to omit subject إذا علم, if it is known. Yani if we know about the subject, then there is a possibility that we can drop it. Taqulu, you say, lissa'ili, to the person who asks you the question. Anismika, yani you tell the person who asks you a question about your name. Simply you say Hamidun. When you say Hamidun, yani ismi Hamidun, you want to say my name is Hamid. So if someone asks you a question, Masmuka, what is your name? You can answer in two ways. Either you can say ismi Hamidun, or you can simply say Hamidun. When you simply say Hamidun, then what happened? That the subject has been omitted. The subject has been dropped. So that's why there is a possibility that sometimes we can omit or we can drop the mubtada or we can drop the subject. Now, maybe it might sound a little bit irrelevant or unnecessary, like why we need to do that. But this construction happens a lot in the Quran. So inshallah, when we start analyzing the text of the Quran, then we will come to know that sometimes mubtada has been dropped and sometimes khabar has been dropped. So we are done with the part of mubtada. Now we talk about min ahkam al-khabari. Now we talk about the rulings of the predicate. Anwa al-khabari, the types of khabar or the types of predicate. Al-khabaru imma mufradun. Predicate is either a word, yani single word. It is singular, in fact. Mufradun means singular. Ay laysa jumlatan, yani it is not a sentence. It is only singular. Yani al-khabaru imma mufradun. That predicate is either singular, wa imma jumlatun, or it is a sentence, wa imma shibhu jumlatin, or it is an incomplete sentence. So there are three possibilities for the predicate. Number one, it can be singular, mufrad. Number two, it can be a complete sentence, and it can be a nominal sentence, and it can be a verbal sentence, or it is an incomplete sentence, shibhu jumla, yani it can be jar majroor, and it can be zarf mudaf ilayhi. Number one, فالخبر المفرد, singular predicate, نحو, for example, المؤمن, subject, مرآة المؤمن is the mirror of the mu'min. A believer is a mirror of the believer. So here we will say that al-mu'minu is subject and mir'atu is predicate, and this is a complete construction, mudaf, mudaf alayh. That's why we know that mudaf, mudaf alayh, they always come together. So here they say that mir'atu is only is predicate, whereas we can say that mir'atul mu'mini, the complete construction, is predicate. Why? Because we know that mudaf, mudaf alayh always come together. We cannot break them apart. Well, khabarul jumlatu, and khabar is a sentence. Nahwu, for example, al-mudiru, subject. Masmuhu, what is his name? So this is the word by word translation. So when we say al-mudiru masmuhu, the translation will be, what is the name of the manager? Masmuhu, now we can see here that it is a complete sentence. How? Ismuhu is mubtada and ma is khabar. And as we can see over here that khabar can be a complete sentence. So in this case, khabar is a complete sentence. And what kind of sentence is this? It is a nominal sentence. It is jumla ismiya. Al-jumlatul ismiyatu masmuhu khabarun. So as we can see here that the nominal sentence masmuhu is khabar. Wa hiya fi mahalli raf'in. And it is in the place of the rafa'. Why it is in the place of the rafa'? Because we know that mubtada and khabar, both of them are marfu. Both of them are marfu. So now we will say that the complete sentence is in the place of khabar, because normally this is what we use when we analyze it. We will say that the complete sentence is mahallan marfu or mansub or majroor. So please remember that the complete sentence can be marfu, it can be mansub, and it can be majroor. Here the complete sentence is marfu. Why is that? Because it is predicate. I want to know that you are with me. Okay. Wallahu khalaqakum. Allah created you. So ismu jalala is mubtada and khalaqakum is a complete verbal sentence. Khalaqa fi'l plus fa'il and kum is maf'ul bihi. So it's a complete sentence. Yes.
Ismul jalala.
Yes, ismu jalala is mubtada.
No, sir. We can say we can call ismu jalala mubtada.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Yes, it's mubtada. Wallahu khalaqakum. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created you all. So Ismul Jalala is mubtada and khalaqakum is khabar. The reason why we have to use the word Ismul Jalala, because we don't want to say that Allah is mubtada and the rest of the sentence is khabar. This is against the dignity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ta'zeeman lil Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have to say that Ismul Jalala is marfu or mansub or majroor. And similarly, we will say that Ismul Jalala is mubtada or we will say it is khabar. So here the khabar is a verbal sentence. Khalaqa, because it starts with the verb. He created you all. Al-jumlatul fi'liyatu, the verbal sentence, khalaqakum. Khalaqakum khabarun is a predicate. Wahiya fi mahalli raf'in, and it is in the place of rafa'. Why it is in the place of rafa'? Because we know that mubtada and khabar, both of them are marfu'. Wal khabaru shibhul jumlati, and khabar is shibhul jumla or incomplete sentence. Nahwu, for example, al jannatu, jannah, tahta aqdamil ummahati. Jannah is under the feet of the mothers. So now we can see here that tahta is dharf, and after that, and we know that it is also used as mudaf, and the rest of the construction will be mudaf ilayh. So we will say that al jannatu is mubtada, and al shibhu or shibhul jumla tahta aqdamil ummahati is in the place of khabar. So tahta aqdamil ummahati, what is the sentence? What is the status of the sentence? The whole sentence, is it marfu, mansub or majroor?
Marfu.
Marfu. Why it is marfu? Because it is in the place of predicate, and we know that predicate is also marfu as well. Okay, now one more thing. Al jannatu is feminine, but tahta aqdamil ummahati. So are they equal, subject and predicate? They are not equal. But as we said, that sometimes it is not necessary that the subject and predicate will be equal in number and gender. Al-dharfu tahta khabarun. Here in this book, according to this book, they say that only tahta is predicate. But we can say that tahta aqdamil ummahati is predicate. Why? Because tahta doesn't come alone. It has to come as mubtada, and there has to be it comes as mudaf, and there has to be mudaf ilayh. So that's why we can say that the complete construction is fi mahalli raf'in. Whereas according to this book, we will say that only tahta is khabar. Wa huwa mansubun fi mahalli raf'in, and it is mansub fi mahalli raf'. No, it's not mansub. It is marfu, isn't it? Because both, we know that mubtada and khabar, both of them are marfu. So it is marfu basically. Alhamdulillah. Where is the subject and where is the predicate? Where is mubtada and where is khabar?
Sir, I have one doubt, sir.
Yes, please.
Al-mudiru masmuhu. You are saying that time masmu is the khabar. But
yes.
Here haluka, you are saying no. That time the haluka is the
Mubtada. Yes.
Here Lamir is attached pronoun is here now, sir. So we can say this is the mubtada. We can't say.
Which one? Tahta aqdam al-ummahati?
No, sir.
The before one, sir.
Which one?
The before one.
Okay, before. Okay, over here. Yes. Al-mudiru, yes.
Kaifa haluka. What is the differentiation between the...
In kaifa haluka, when you say kaifa haluka, kaifa
yes.
is harf istifham, which is used to ask a question, right? It's one word. And haluka is one word. It is mufrad. Haluka is mufrad, okay? But here it is not mufrad. It is a complete sentence. Ma ismuhu in itself is a complete sentence. If you break it further down, so if you further break it down, then we will say that ismuhu is mubtada and ma is khabar, right? So basically there is a sentence within a sentence. So that's why we can say that a complete sentence can be mubtada and a complete sentence can be khabar. Similarly, we can say that mufrad, yani one word can be mubtada and one word can be khabar, can also be khabar.
Okay.
All right, alhamdulillah. So, alhamdulillah, where is mubtada and where is khabar? This one is easier.
Alhamdu is mubtada.
Mubtada and lillahi is khabar. Okay. And this is, what is this? Al-jaru wal-majruru. This is al-jaru wal-majruru. You need to know that this means the preposition plus a noun. So we call it a prepositional phrase. So lillahi khabarun. So al-jaru wal-majruru lillahi khabarun. So al-jaru wal-majrur lillah is khabar. Wa huwa fi mahalli raf'in, and it is in the place of the rafa'. So we know that both alhamdu is marfu and lillahi is marfu, because we know that mubtada and khabar, both of them are marfu. Okay. Now we have a little bit more information. Mutabaqatuhu lil mubtada'i, its agreement to the subject. Here it refers to the khabar, yani the predicate, yani the agreement of the predicate to the subject. So this is where we need to know now that subject and predicate we have already discussed. They are equal in number and gender. So yutabiqu al-khabaru al-mubtada fi. So the predicate agrees with the subject fi, yani in. Tabaqa yutabiqu mutabaqatan, that means to agree. So here mutabaqatuhu, here it is used as masdar. Tabaqa yutabiqu mutabaqatan. Here it is used as masdar. That's why I have translated it as agreement, because it's a noun. So it's agreement to the subject. But yutabiqu is a verb. Yutabiqu al-khabaru al-mubtada. So the khabar or the predicate agrees with the subject fi in what? Number one, al-ifradi wa tathniyati wal jam'i. And it will be equal in singular, dual, and plural. Nahwu, for example, al-mudarrisu waqifun, the teacher is standing. So al-mudarrisu is one, and waqifun is also, it is used for one. Wat-tullabu jalisuna, tullabu is plural, so the khabar is also plural. Wat-tullabu jalisuna, and the students are sitting. Bab al-fasli mughlaqani. So here we are talking about two doors of the classroom. So that's why it's two doors. That's why we have mughlaqani. And because the subject is dual, that's why the predicate is also dual. That means both of the doors of the classroom are closed. وَنَافِذَتَاهُ مَفْتُوحَتَانِ, and its windows, both of its windows are open. نَافِذَتَاهُ, what was the original construction?
Nafidatani.
Excellent. So the noon has been dropped. Why? Because it is used as mudaf. Excellent. وَنَافِذَتَاهُ, so because two windows, window is feminine, and that's why here the khabar is feminine. And bab, as we know, baba, two doors. So because we know that it's masculine, and that's why it is mughlaqani, and it's not mughlaqatani. Why? Because we know that bab in Arabic is masculine, whereas nafida is feminine. Number two, fit tadhkiri wa ta'nithi, in gender, as we say, being mudhakkar and muannath. So nahwu, for example, hamidun muhandisun. Hamid is an engineer. So we know that hamid is masculine. That's why the predicate that we have used is also muhandisun, is also masculine. What will be the feminine of muhandisun?
Muhandisatun.
Muhandisatun. So if we have hamidatun here, if we have hamidatun, so we will say hamidatun muhandisatun. Then we will make it feminine, right? We will say muhandisatun. Excellent. وَزَوْجَتُهُ طَبِيبَةٌ, and his wife is a doctor. So zawja, because zawja is feminine, that's why the khabar is also feminine. وَبَنَاهُمَا تَاجِرَانِ, and both of their sons are merchants. وَبَنَاهُمَا, so it was وَبَنَانِ, and the noon has been dropped. Huma refers to both of them. It refers to both Hamid and his wife, and both of their sons are merchants. وَبِنْتَاهُمَا, and both of their daughters, mudarrisatani, are teachers. Excellent. And both of their daughters are teachers. So it was bintani, and the noon has been dropped because it is mudaf ilayh. And we can see here, because here we have two, and it is for the feminine, both of them. That's why the khabar is also mudarrisatani. And here, because it is two sons, similarly the khabar is also tajirani. So the summary is that mubtada and khabar are equal in number and gender. Generally, they are equal in number and gender. All right, so shall we do one more exercise or is this enough?
Yes, Ustad. If time is there, inshallah, I will do one more exercise.
Exercise, all right. Ij'al, make, ja'ala yaj'alu, and fi'l al-amr will be ij'al, make, kulla ismin, every noun, mimma, whatever, or with that, ya'ti follows mubtada'an into mubtada. So we have to change every noun that we have over here into mubtada. Ahmadu. Ahmadu, mamnu min as-sarf, because it's on the pattern of af'alu. So make one sentence about Ahmadu. We have to make Ahmad mubtada.
Zakiyun.
Ahmad.
Zakiyun, excellent. Zakiyun, perfect. Ahmad is intelligent, all right. Ahmadu wa akhuhu. Now we have two, Ahmad and his brother.
Mushtahidani.
Excellent. Ahmadu wa akhuhu mujtahidani. Or we can say Zakiyani. If you want to go with the Zakiyun, then we will say Zakiyani or mujtahidani. Al-Muslimuna, it's plural. Muslims. Muslims are, yes. Al-Muslimuna yusalluna, okay. Khamsata salawatin, perfect. Or we can say Al-Muslimuna salihuna, perfect. Muslims are pious. Al-Muslimuna salihuna, all right. As-sayyaratu
Jadidatun.
Jadidatun, perfect. As-sayyaratu jadidatun. Manarata al-masjidi. We are talking about the two minarets of the masjid.
Tawi.
Alin, we say alin, and we want to say two of them are high. Aliyatani. Aliyatani, excellent. Manarata al-masjidi aliyatani. Yani two minarets of the masjid are high. At-talibatu. Mashallah, you can write anything about yourselves. We have most of talibat over here. At-talibatu mujtahidatun. Abkiyau, if you want to say they are intelligent, Abkiyau, yes, they are intelligent, yes. Because Abkiyau is used for both masculine and feminine. Qalamun. Or al-qalamu, we can say, yes. Or qalamun, we can say qalamun jadidun. Or we can say al-qalamu jadidun. Or al-qalamu azraqu. Al-qalamu ahmaru. Al-kutubu. Yes, please remember this is a plural of kitabun. Al-kutubu. I want to say books are useful.
Mufidatun.
Mufidatun. Ahsanti. Mufidatun. Why? Because it's a broken plural. So that's why the khabar has to be singular feminine. Ma, very easy.
Ma ismuka.
Ma ismuka. And man.
Maridun.
Man maridun, excellent. And we have the answers over here. We have made our own sentences and we have some sentences over here as well. Ahmadu Zakiyun, Ahmadu wa akhu mujtahidani, al-Muslimuna yusalluna. So yusalluna, as we can see here, this is a verbal sentence, and basically we have hum yani yusalluna. So hum refers to al-Muslimuna. As-sayyaratu jamilatun, the car is beautiful. Then we have Manarata al-Masjidi aliyatani. So two minarets of the masjid are high. At-talibatu inda al-mudirati. The students are with the manager. So we can see here that inda al-mudirati is basically shibhu jumlatin. Qalamu majidin ala al-maktabi. So if you want to use it as qalamu, then we have to make it qalamu majidi. So we have to use it as mudaf ilayh. And when we say qalamu majidin, now it becomes a proper noun. Why it becomes a proper noun? Mudaf ila al-marifa. So qalamu majidin, the book of Majid, ala al-maktabi. Ala al-maktabi is on the desk. So this is shibhu jumla jar majroor. Al-kutubu mufidatun, the books are useful. Ma bika, what's wrong with you? And man maridun, who is sick. So alhamdulillah, we have lots of exercises, lots of information about subject and predicate. And inshallah, when we start analyzing the text of the Quran, these exercises and these lessons will help us a lot. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah.
Wa iyyakum.